In this video, we won't learn anything new, but I want to show that we can combine a join, like inner join, which is all we know so far, aka the default join type, with things like group by. We can get more complicated. So what I'm going to do is recreate my table. So I'm going to drop the tables, and then I'm going to reinsert these values. You don't have to do that. The only reason I'm going to do that is because I think I made some alterations. I added in an order or two, and I don't want to have different results from you. So I'm just going to copy this code. You can have a copy of it as well if you want to. And I'll drop my table orders and drop table customers. All right, recreate all of that at once. Select star from orders just to make sure it works. Okay, so let's rejoin our data. Let's get a little more practice with that. Select star, or maybe we'll just do first name, last name, and I think it's amount, or is it order amount? It's order date and amount from customers. Of course, those properties don't exist. At least these two don't exist in customers. We then need to do a join, and we'll do a join orders table on, and then the order here doesn't matter, but I'll say orders dot customer ID is equal to customers.id. Nothing new there. That's recap of what we saw in the previous video. So now I have a list essentially of every order and the corresponding user who made the order, or customer who made the order. Why don't I try and find the total amount that each customer spent? So I need to group by first name and last name for a unique customer, because of course we could have multiple people with the same last name and same first name, or rather same last name or the same first name. So if we instead group by both of them together, that should work for us. We'll get these groups that have these different amounts, and then we'll sum up the amounts. And I'm going to do this back here so we have a record of it in SQL Workbench or just any text editor. It's also easier to edit. Just I got to be careful because when I copy and paste from the shell, I get that arrow. Okay, so instead of just doing this and stopping there, I'm going to say group by, and I want to group by first name and last name. Now, technically, what I could do is write customers dot first name, customers dot last name, but I don't need to because there's no first name in the orders table or last name in the orders table. But if I were trying to use ID here, well, MySQL doesn't know which ID I'm referring to, which is why we have to say customers.id. Anyway, I'm going to do my group by, and then instead of selecting first name, last name, order date, and amount, well, order date isn't really going to work anymore because it's no longer in common between all the rows. I'm grouping the rows by first name and last name. So instead of order date, I'm going to get rid of that. And instead of amount, I'm going to sum amount just like that. And let's see how that works. Semicolon, of course, is needed. Okay, so we see our three different customers, Boy George, George Michael, Betty Davis, and the sum of all of their orders. And we only have 5 orders total, so pretty small. But if we had hundreds or thousands, it would work just the same. So just check the math here. Betty Davis, 450. Well, she only has one order. But George Michael, 813. That makes sense. 867 plus 1250. Boy George, 135. 99 plus 35. All right. We could even throw in an order by at the end there. Let's do order by the amount. So why don't we call this as total? And then order by total. And now we get our highest spenders, well, our lowest spenders up to our highest spenders. Of course, we could do descending too if we wanted. So I just wanted to show an example of doing a group by with a join. Super common. The join just helps us get some information side by side, but it doesn't really tell us or give us answers or, show us anything particularly useful until we then do some analysis. And a common way of analyzing any of our data is using group by and then some aggregation function. So of course we could find the average. We could find all sorts of things. We could find the earliest date, the latest date. We could use min and max, but I think sum is just a simple example to start with. Next up, we're going to move on to a different type of join, which is the left join.